Before anybody asks, no, the power is not out. That's actually going to be, that clock is going to be the subject of today's video, but power is not out. I'm really only have my lights off so I can break the batteries that I put into this Energizer flashlight in. You can see it's really not that dark in here. The camera can see quite well. Actually, I'm surprised because my old camera, you needed a lighting suitable for a football stadium in order to get it to work. Anyway, as you can see, kind of just unboxed the hard drive I got back from RMA, so that mess needs to be cleaned up. But that isn't the point. Like I said, the point of today's video is this. And just hold on a second while I go get my receipt. Boy, am I ever glad that I keep all my receipts in one place. I actually have a wallet that I keep them in. You can see it right there. And that wallet's sole job is to store my receipts. That's all it does. But this clock, this Dream Machine, it's a Sony. Of course, Sony made the Dream Machine. It is an ICF C414. This is going to be a full product review after I've had it now for... where'd the receipt go? Am I sitting on it? Alright, so it was bought at a Zeller's. You can see Sony clock radio for $30 plus a recycling fee of $10. Where is the date of purchase? Honestly, where's the date? I'm sure that there's a date on it somewhere. Here we go. Date. April 5th, 2012. So I have not had it for a year yet, but it's definitely getting up there. Anyway, you can see that it really looks sleek. There are fingerprints on it. So I just cleaned this yesterday. It's kind of scratched up. You can tell there's residue of some kind on it. But it looks nice. It's sort of overbearing for my camera. But to take a look at the features, I'm going to have to turn the light on because my camera can't see that. And I don't think really many cameras can see that unless they have a video light. On the back, which you will not be able to see, or well, I can't, the camera can, we have a speaker and we have a slot for a backup battery, which is not the kind of backup battery that you would think. Most alarm clocks use a 9-volt battery. This is one of the big selling points of some of these Dream Machines. So this is being filmed after the fact. I don't know if I'm going to talk about this feature again, but I wanted to point out something about the automatic time setting feature. Now, don't let that fool you. There is nothing automatic about the automatic time setting feature. All it is a long life lithium battery. I'm trying to position this light here so it doesn't fall over, but I still have decent lighting conditions. There's a long life lithium battery installed. It's a CR2032. And yeah, it's a 2032. Just like a laptop, or not just a laptop, but a PC, a computer. And its job is basically the same as a computer. It holds the date and time. Because this also has the ability to set the date. And what they do is they set the clock to an international time zone. So if I were to unplug this right now, obviously, just like any ordinary alarm clock, the time goes out because it can't run the LCD. That would drain the battery way too quickly. Well, watch what happens when I plug it back in. Ooh, magic. Yeah, there is absolutely nothing magic about that. All it is because that battery does nothing more than keep the timekeeper running. I'm not sure what kind of timekeeper IC is in here. I've never taken it apart. I don't ever plan to. But what they do, I believe what they do is they set it to some international standard. But what they also have is a time zone button, because where you live, it might not necessarily be the same time as what they have set. In theory, you will not have to reset this. because it will be set to a time, and that time will keep on running. And they set it at the factory, they ship it out, and it will still run even when you get the clock. But don't be fooled. It is not hooked to any satellite anything. And it's definitely, if the battery runs down and you don't replace it, you will have to reset the clock manually, which is what these buttons are for. But this time zone button changes the hour, and in some cases the minutes. Because when you get this clock, there's a very good chance that the time zone that it is programmed for, I believe it's like set for international time or something, not necessarily international time, but Greenwich Meridian. I think it's set to Greenwich, but I'm not positive. It should be set to a GMT, which is Greenwich Meridian time. And that's one of the time zones. But that time zone will change the hour, and you will be allowed to change that. I believe it also fiddles around with the date based on what time zone it's in. I forget how many presets there are. I think there are either 7 or 8. Let's check. Right now we're on time zone 2. There's 7. Oops, skipped it. Hope that's the right one. Yes, that's the right one. 6:23. Oh, it's 20 degrees Celsius in here. That's not what I wanted. 6:23. Yep. Okay, good. Helps to have a whole bunch of clocks handy. But that's how that feature works. And it's an ingenious feature. Wish they programmed it into other stuff, like my stereo over there, which requires me to reprogram the whole goddamn thing every time the power fails. This, I don't have to reprogram all the time when the power fails. And I don't have to worry about replacing that battery very often, and when I do have to replace it, it lets me know, because there is a battery dead or battery dying indicator right there. For $30, it's definitely not the cheapest alarm clock, but these show up in thrift stores for much cheaper prices. I don't know how much YouTube user TallDude123 paid for his from a thrift store. You can go ask him. I don't really know. I haven't watched the video yet. We have an AM band, which is analog. It is an analog tuner, which means that instead of using buttons, and does it all in a software routine, or it's not really software, but still, firmware routine, whatever. It uses a knob, which moves this around and is a variable. I wonder if, I think it's a potentiometer, or maybe it's a variable resistor. I have no idea. I don't care. It works. And pretty wide band. I do get a lot of channels. It's kind of dusty here. If you want to get the front plate off, good luck with that. Those are, I believe those are hex screws. If not, they're Torx bits. On the top, we have a date/sleep off button, which turns off the sleep counter. That's one of the things that it does. It snoozes the alarm. That's the second thing that it does. And, oops, sorry about that. So that big bar right there, it's both a snooze button. It also turns the sleep timer off. And if you press it when nothing is going on, you can see the date. Today is the, oops, February 25th of 2013. That is not Y2K compliant or Y3K compliant or whatever the heck it's going to be way in the future. Then again, I don't expect it to last that long because it is a modern piece of equipment. And unfortunately, like a lot of other modern pieces of equipment, it is cheap. And because it is cheap, I'm not sure how long it will last. Also on the top, we have 2 radios. This is a 2-radio system. Doesn't have just one, it has 2. You can change it, set it for different times. It's one of the other reasons why I bought it, because I wanted a clock that could do more than one alarm. Because even though I have a plethora of alarm clocks, plus that great big huge thing, I like to have the dual alarms feature. Because I tend to be a little bit of a heavy sleeper, and that's one of the other things that I'm going to talk about in a second, but I'm a heavy sleeper, so the more alarms, the better. Sleep timer does exactly what you would expect it to do. fix the radio on. Had the volume cranked there, sorry about that. But you can tell that it does get pretty loud. I really dislike the crap that's on radio these days. But that's not the only thing that turns the radio on. There's a radio on button, of course. And 2 alarms. One of them can be set for the buzzer, which isn't really a buzzer. You'll see what I mean in a second. Or the radio. I'm not sure how well you can... There we go. Or the radio. The other one can be set to the buzzer or a melody. And the melody I'll let you listen to as well. But that's how you set the alarm times. Rounding it out, we have a clock button. I'm not too sure what the function of that is. Probably to set the clock. Add and subtract buttons for the times and for the time setting. Daylight savings time, I'm not sure the function of that button just yet. And a brightness, because this thing has 3 brightness settings. It's on high right now, that's medium, and that's low. So if you're easily distracted by bright lights, you can turn that down, and you now have a clock that isn't blinding, but I really like to have lights on, and I like to see the time all the time, so that's why I have it set like that. It is a traditional alarm clock display, except it's huge. You can see it's quite big, so you should have no problem seeing the time. What else? Oh yes, the alarm times. Let's set that. I believe it's 5:55 right now, so timing does go by pretty quickly. So there's your buzzer. That's all the buzzer is. Does not respond to the volume control. Okay, alright, shut up. And the other one, I believe I just set it to melody. And it's actually quite a bit louder than the buzzer, which is ironic. Not sure how this is on camera. It's disgusting. Just dust all over this thing. Alright, okay, shut up. I've had enough of that. That actually does get rather annoying, which is the point. Radio is, well, that's obvious. Don't need to demonstrate that. But yeah, my one gripe about this unit is that apart from having an analog tuner, I don't really use the tuner anyway, so I don't care. But is that the buzzer is kind of dim. Is kind of lacking volume. Because there's no actual piezo beeper in this thing. It plays through the speakers, so... Presumably to save space and to save components. Just eliminates one component and maybe a driver as well, so 2 or 3 components. And in doing that, they probably saved about 5 cents. So it's not really big savings, but it's definitely savings nonetheless. As for my final thoughts, I like the alarm clock. It's really nice. It's sleek looking. It's my camera's bitching because it's almost out of batteries, which ticks me off because hopefully I have enough battery life to last through this conclusion. Anyway, regardless, I like the alarm clock. It's sleek looking. The letters are big. Well, not the letters. The numbers are big, so you can actually read them if you're like me and somebody with really poor eyesight. Well, I don't have poor eyesight. I have pretty good eyesight, but comparatively speaking, if you have poor eyesight, a lot of today's modern clocks with those LCD displays that you can't read from halfway across the room. Ugh. I like these LED displays. They're so much better. Great, they can't display the fancy characters that LCD displays can display. I don't care. I don't want fancy characters. It's an alarm clock. All I needed to do is display the time and beep at me when it wants to get, when I need to be getting up. And that's exactly what this does. It's quiet. It is on the quiet side, so if you're a really heavy sleeper like me, and this is your sole alarm clock, I would definitely use the double alarm. And that is that. I would either not use the buzzer and set it to radio, or the melody is actually louder than the buzzer, as we found out. So if you want to use the melody, you can, but again, be warned, it is not that loud. So I would use the radio in all cases, or as a second alarm. Or just not get this at all if you want something with a piezo beeper. This one does not have a piezo beeper. What else? Oh yeah, doesn't sound that great, but then again, it's an alarm clock. It has about that much clearance, if you're wondering. Just maybe about... But overall, I definitely like this alarm clock. It does everything that I need it to. And it is a great example as to what an alarm clock should be. None of these prissy iPod docks, none of these stupid extra doors and buttons and bells and whistles and hoo-haws and god-dings and all that stuff that we don't need. At least not on an alarm clock. That's something that you should save for a cell phone. And in fact, in a lot of cases, a cell phone might be better than this, but I just don't really like using my cell phone as an alarm clock because, you know, I'm liable to throw it across the room. I'm just one of those people. Hope you enjoyed my full product review. My final verdict is that this is a great product. And it does have its downsides. I mean, it's not loud by any means. The radio doesn't sound great. And there's one other thing. Oh yeah, it's an analog tuner. But other than that, it's a great product. I like it. And it does everything that I need it to. Thank you for watching. If you have your comments, definitely feel free to leave them down below. And also your questions. And this is CP666 signing off. I hope to see you next time. Till then.